Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and checking your bank account only to find exactly $0. Your savings are gone, your investments have vanished, and your safety net has completely disappeared. You have no rich relatives to bail you out, no trust fund waiting to be unlocked, and no hidden cash stuffed under your mattress. Just you, the clothes on your back, and the mind inside your head. What is your very first move? Panic? Despair? Or would you see it as a clean slate? We often look at the incredibly wealthy and assume they possess some magical secret or an unreachable advantage. We look at Warren Edward Buffett, born in August 1930 in Omaha, Nebraska, widely considered the most successful investor of the 20th century and the brilliant mind behind the massive conglomerate Berkshire Hathaway, and we think his reality is completely disconnected from ours. He has consistently ranked among the wealthiest people on the planet, even taking the #1 spot in 2008. But strip away the billions of dollars, strip away the massive corporate empire, and what remains is a framework of thinking. If the Oracle of Omaha were to start entirely from scratch today, in this fast-paced, highly unpredictable, and deeply distracting world, his strategy would not rely on luck. It would rely on unbreakable principles. Most of us carry a deep-seated, paralyzing fear of money. We are afraid of never having enough, terrified of losing what little we do have, and overwhelmed by the complexity of investing. Money becomes a source of extreme anxiety rather than a tool for freedom. Research from the American Psychological Association consistently shows that financial stress is the leading cause of anxiety for the vast majority of adults. We are kept awake at night worrying about bills, inflation, and the seemingly impossible dream of retirement. We buy into the illusion that wealth is created by catching the next big trend, gambling on highly volatile digital assets, or finding a secret shortcut to millions of dollars. But wealth is what you do not see. It is the cars not purchased, the diamonds not bought, the status upgrades declined. If Warren Buffett were standing in your shoes right now, with exactly $0 to his name, his very first investment would not be in a stock. His first investment would be entirely in himself. The best investment you can possibly make is in your own abilities. Anything that develops your own skills is inherently productive. If you increase your earning power by just 10%, that is a dividend that cannot be taxed away by the government and cannot be eroded by inflation. Let us imagine you currently work at a job that pays $3,000 a month. You feel stuck. The bills consume almost everything, leaving you with perhaps $100 of breathing room. The traditional advice is to save that $100. But the Buffett approach from zero is different. He would take that $100 and use it to buy a book, take a course, or attend a seminar that teaches a high-income skill. He would learn how to code, how to sell, how to write persuasively, or how to manage complex projects. In the modern economy, human capital is the ultimate compounding asset. A study by the Pew Research Center highlights that individuals who continuously engage in lifelong learning and skill acquisition report significantly higher levels of job satisfaction and personal well-being. They feel a sense of control over their destiny. When you have no financial capital, your intellectual capital is your only leverage. Before we dive into the exact framework of how to build this wealth step by step, I want to take a brief moment to ask for your support. If you are finding value in this video, and if these insights are resonating with your own journey, please take a second to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement tells the algorithm that this content is valuable, which helps us reach and empower more people just like you. It is a small gesture that makes a massive difference in the life and growth of this channel, allowing us to continue producing high-quality, transformative content week after week. Thank you for being part of this community. Now, returning to our blueprint from zero. Once you have begun the process of aggressively upgrading your skills, the next unavoidable hurdle is the psychological trap of modern consumerism. We live in a society engineered to extract every single dollar from your pocket the moment you earn it. Targeted advertisements, social media influencers living seemingly perfect lives, and the frictionless ease of mobile payments create an environment where spending is the default state. Buffett famously lives in the same house in Omaha that he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He drives practical cars and eats modest meals. Why? Because he understands the profound difference between price and value. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Most people buy things to impress people they do not even like, using money they do not actually have. When starting from zero, every single dollar is a seed. If you eat the seed today, you cannot harvest the crop tomorrow. This brings us to a powerful concept, the margin of safety. In investing, a margin of safety means buying a company for significantly less than its intrinsic value to protect against unforeseen market downturns. In everyday life, applying a margin of safety means engineering your lifestyle so that your living expenses are drastically lower than your income. If you earn $4,000 a month, your lifestyle should be built around needing only $2,500. That gap is your margin of safety. It is the oxygen in your financial lungs. When the unexpected medical bill arrives, or the car breaks down, or the economy goes into a recession, you do not panic. You have a buffer. Behavioral economic studies have repeatedly demonstrated that the feeling of financial security, simply knowing you have cash reserves to weather a storm, contributes far more to your daily happiness than the fleeting thrill of purchasing a luxury item. The absence of financial stress is one of the most underrated forms of profound wealth. Let me challenge you right here and right now. I want you to try the 30-day Total Reset Challenge. For the next 30 days, I challenge you to spend money only on absolute necessities: shelter, basic groceries, utilities, and essential transportation. No eating out, no new clothes, no streaming service subscriptions you do not use, no daily expensive coffees. Track every single penny. The goal of this challenge is not to make you miserable or to deprive you of joy. The goal is to fundamentally reset your dopamine baseline and break the automatic habit of mindless spending. At the end of these 30 days, you will not only have a surprising amount of extra dollars in your account, but you will also experience a massive psychological shift. You will realize how little you actually need to survive and how much of your past spending was purely emotional regulation. You will have proven to yourself that you control your money. Your money does not control you. Building from zero requires you to treat your personal finances like a business. Berkshire Hathaway became a titan, not by jumping on the hottest trends, but by acquiring boring, predictable, cash-generating businesses that people need every single day. Insurance, energy, railroads. When you are rebuilding your life, you need to focus on the boring, predictable actions that generate consistent results. Paying off high-interest debt. Building an emergency fund equivalent to 6 months of basic living expenses. Consistently investing a portion of your income into broad market index funds. Warren Buffett has repeatedly stated that for the overwhelming majority of people, the best investment strategy is simply to buy and hold a low-cost index fund tracking the top 500 companies in the United States. You do not need to pick the winning stock. You simply need to own a piece of human progress. Over the long term, human ingenuity and economic productivity have always trended upward. By investing consistently, you are aligning your financial destiny with the relentless march of human innovation. Do not let the fear of making a mistake keep you paralyzed on the sidelines. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. By educating yourself, by living below your means, and by thinking in decades rather than days, you eliminate the majority of the risk. You build a fortress around your financial well-being. The modern world wants you to be impatient. It wants you to crave instant gratification. But true wealth, the kind of wealth that provides generational freedom and unshakable peace of mind, is built slowly. It is the result of thousands of small, seemingly insignificant decisions compounding over time. It is waking up every day and choosing long-term value over short-term comfort. It is the relentless pursuit of self-improvement and the unwavering discipline to stay the course when everyone else is losing their minds. When you look at the journey of building wealth from nothing, You must understand the role of your own temperament. Intelligence is important, but emotional stability is absolutely paramount. You could have an intelligence quotient of 160, but if you panic every time the stock market drops by 5%, you will destroy your wealth. Buffett has always maintained that investing is not a game where the guy with the highest intelligence necessarily wins. It is a game where the person with the most patience and the best emotional control ultimately triumphs. Scientific research in the field of neuroeconomics reveals that human beings are biologically hardwired to feel the pain of a financial loss twice as intensely as the pleasure of an equivalent financial gain. This cognitive bias, known as loss aversion, causes people to make completely irrational decisions. They sell their investments at the bottom of a market crash out of pure terror, locking in their losses, and they buy at the very top of a market bubble out of extreme greed and the fear of missing out. If you are starting from zero today, you must train your mind to act counter to your basic instincts. You must learn to be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy only when others are fearful. When the news headlines are screaming about impending economic doom, when everyone around you is panicking and predicting the end of the financial system, that is exactly when opportunities are the most abundant. Businesses and assets go on sale. But you can only take advantage of these sales if you have spent the previous years building your margin of safety, accumulating cash, and cultivating a rational, unemotional mindset. You cannot capitalize on an opportunity if you are drowning in debt and paralyzed by anxiety. Preparation is the key that unlocks the door to extraordinary returns. Think about your current relationship with money. Does it feel like a heavy burden, a source of constant friction in your life and relationships? This is incredibly common, but it does not have to be your permanent reality. The beautiful truth about personal finance is that it is never too late to begin. Whether you are 25 years old or 65 years old, the fundamental principles of wealth creation remain exactly the same. Earn more than you spend. Invest the difference wisely. Continuously educate yourself. And let the incredible mathematical power of compound interest do the heavy lifting over time. You do not need a complex strategy involving complicated derivatives or highly leveraged real estate deals. You need simplicity, discipline, and time. Let us explore a practical scenario that millions of people face. Imagine a young professional, deeply burdened by $50,000 of student loan debt, working a demanding job, and feeling completely hopeless about ever achieving financial independence. Society tells this person to buy a nicer car to feel better, to take expensive vacations to decompress, and to rent a luxury apartment to project success. This is the exact recipe for a lifetime of wage slavery. If Warren Buffett were advising this young professional, he would preach a radical departure from the norm. He would advise finding the cheapest safe housing available, perhaps even living with roommates. He would recommend driving a reliable 10-year-old vehicle that is paid for in cash. The thousands of dollars saved each month by rejecting societal expectations would then be directed like a laser beam toward entirely eradicating that $50,000 of debt. Debt is a reverse compounding machine. While your investments grow exponentially in your favor, high-interest debt grows exponentially against you, silently eating away at your future purchasing power. It is a heavy chain around your neck. By eliminating debt, you instantly guarantee a massive return on your money. Paying off a credit card that charges 20% interest annually is mathematically equivalent to finding a perfectly safe investment that yields a guaranteed 20% return. No such investment exists in the public markets. Therefore, eradicating high-interest debt is always your most logical and powerful first financial maneuver when starting from zero. Once the chains of debt are broken, the money that used to flow to massive banking institutions now flows directly into your own net worth. You stop funding the luxurious lives of bank executives and start funding your own freedom. The path forward from zero requires an unyielding commitment to reality. You must look at your financial situation with absolute honesty, without making excuses or blaming external circumstances. Yes, the economy has periods of high inflation. Yes, wages have not always kept pace with the rising cost of living. Yes, the modern financial system is incredibly complex, but focusing your mental energy on things you cannot control is a massive waste of your most valuable resource, your time. You cannot control the policies of the central bank, but you can control how much of your paycheck you save. You cannot control the fluctuations of the global stock market, but you can control your own reaction to those fluctuations. You cannot control the price of basic goods, but you can control your own consumption habits. True power comes from taking absolute personal responsibility for your financial destiny. As you embark on this journey of rebuilding, you will encounter setbacks. You might make a poor purchase or face an unexpected emergency that drains your hard-earned cash reserves. This is not a reason to surrender. It is a fundamental part of the process. The greatest minds in business and investing have all faced monumental failures. What separates them from the rest of the world is their resilience. They view failure not as a reflection of their personal worth, but as valuable data. They analyze what went wrong, adjust their strategy, and move forward with increased wisdom. You must adopt this exact same mindset. Every financial mistake is simply a highly priced lesson. Do not waste the lesson by dwelling on the pain of the loss. Extract the knowledge and apply it to your future decisions. Do you often feel like investing is a game only for those already rich? The truth is, waiting for the perfect moment is the greatest risk of all. Studies in behavioral economics reveal that the fear of losing money often prevents us from taking the very steps that build wealth. This psychological barrier keeps millions trapped in the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. But remember, the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. So, I challenge you today. For the next 30 days, before you spend even $1 on something you do not strictly need, ask yourself if that money could be put to work instead. Redirect just 10% of your monthly income into an index fund or a solid investment. You will be amazed at how this simple habit changes your entire relationship with money. By taking control of your financial habits, you reduce anxiety and increase your overall well-being. Before we move on, if this shift in perspective is helping you see your financial potential, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support is what allows us to keep bringing these insights directly to you. Wealth is not just about accumulating dollars, it is about buying your own freedom. Think about that friend or family member who is always stressing over their finances. Share this message with them right now. They might just need this exact spark to change their future. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.